Here's my idea. Like, my cat sheds so much that I will like collect her hair and then just use one of my old like brush handles with its ferrule and like make a cat hairbrush out of it, use it for blending and such. And then one day when I have this huge family of like tons of kitties, I'll just collect all their hair that they shed and I'll brush them and stuff. Then I'll make a bunch of brushes and I'll sell them. I'll call it the Calico Collection. Hello, you've returned to the channel of Rainbow Rocks Beauty. Today I'm going to be doing a review and demonstration on the Makeup Geek Eye Brush Bundle. It is a set of 6 brushes, all synthetic and cruelty-free. This is what they look like. The set retails for $43. They're each $8 individually, so you save $5 by getting the bundle. They have kind of like a gunmetal finish on their packaging, and then the ferrule is like an espresso kind of dark rose gold color. They have the Makeup Geek logo on one side and the name of the brush on the other side, and the handle sizes differ between the different brushes depending on how much hair is in them. So like the eyeliner brush and the smaller pencil brush have like the smaller handles, and then the other ones have kind of thicker handles. The handles don't taper out, which I really like. They're the uniform size throughout, if that makes sense. I've had this set for about a month, and so I've used the brushes a bunch of times, so I feel like now I can talk about them. I've also washed them several times, and I do find that for the fluffier one, when you wash it, hairs do kind of spread apart more, as fluffy brushes do, even when you shape it while it's still wet. Otherwise, they wash really well. It doesn't affect the quality of the brushes after a wash. One thing that I really do like about each and every brush in this set is that the hairs don't fall out of the brush. That's the one thing about brushes that makes me hate them, is when I'm blending or doing whatever and hairs fall out and then they stick to whatever is sticky on my face, like foundation or whatever it might be. None of these brushes have ever done that to me, which I really, really appreciate. That's like the #1 thing that makes me hate a line of brushes, is when hairs fall out of the ferrule. The quality is definitely there. The one thing that I have found is that one brush, this brush, the ferrule is kind of loose. That happens with a lot of brushes. It happens all the time. It's nothing super glue won't fix. If it comes off altogether, the hairs will still be super glued inside this front part of the ferrule. So you could just take this bottom part, stick some super glue in there, and just hold it in there, and it'll be glued tight. It happens. It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my opinion of the brushes at all. Overall, I do think that this set is worth the $43, and I do think you should purchase it. It's good for a wide variety of looks. I mean, whether it be glam or special effects, or you put it in your kit for clients, I think this set is worth it because you can do a lot of things with it. And I find that the brushes in this set are unique from other eye brushes that you find from other brands or whatever it may be. The shapes and the densities of the different brushes are different from other brushes out there. It's totally cool for you to just go and buy some of them and not the full set if you think that some of the brushes might be useful to you and some might not. So anyways, I'm going to do a demo doing an eye look using all the brushes, and I'm going to talk about each one individually and what kind of the pros and cons of the different ones are. Overall, I do think this set is worth buying. If you want to learn more about each individual brush and see them in action, then just keep on watching and don't forget to subscribe. So the first brush I'm using is the Makeup Geek Soft Dome Brush, which is the big fluffy blender in the set. It is really fluffy and soft. It almost feels like natural hair, even though it's not. My big beef with this brush is that it does come to sort of a point, not a harsh point or anything, but I do think it kind of defeats the purpose for a fluffy brush not to be semi-flat on the top, because the idea is that you're depositing product in a larger area and being able to diffuse it further with the brush. So I do think the point which deposits color in sort of a smaller area does kind of make it a little bit more difficult. But what I do to deal with this, if you've got more rounded and sunken in eyelid, then this brush is fine for you, because you are going to be depositing product into that crease and blending it upward, and so the point is fine because you can get it right into that crease. But for someone with hooded lids, what you have to do, and you'll see me do this, is take the product on the point and put it right where you want it on a more flat spot in your hooded lid, if that makes sense, and you'll see me do this in a second, and then blend from there. But overall, the brush is nice. When you wash it, you do need to really tightly shape it while it's wet. So like you see, I do dip the brush into the product. I'm using Peach Smoothie, which is a light transition shade. And I like to start on the inner corner of my eye when using this fluffy blender because that's where I can deposit product on a more flat area than when I get rounded out and get down into more of a crease zone where it caves in a little bit, if that makes sense. So you want to start in your flat zone, deposit most of the product there, and then blend it outward from there since it does have that point. If you just keep blending and using circular motions over and over, back and forth, just tons of them, then you'll see that the product will end up being diffused. It's not that big of a problem. I would just prefer that it was flat, but that's just because of the needs of my eyes, and everyone is different. Blend back and forth in circular motions, and it will end up being blended. The next brush is the Makeup Geek Outer V brush, which is a really dense and soft brush, but it is very dense. It's not meant to blend, it's meant to place color. I like it for in-between color application because it is sort of soft enough that you can place it and it won't be harsh. You will need to blend after with the fluffy brush again, but it is small enough to where you can put it where you want, but not too small to where it's like only in a really small area. So it's great for placing color softly. It's good for more than just the outer V as well. I like to use it for my whole crease, as you can see. You can use it on the outer V, you can use it anywhere. This is the brush in the set that I would recommend for packing color, which you'll see me do later because it is the densest brush in the set, but I like to just place color right in my crease with it. I'm taking Makeup Geek Poppy, which is going to be my in-between transition shade since we're going to do like a 3-color gradient, and I like to just use this to literally round out my crease and place it right above my crease since I have hooded lids. If you have rounded lids, you're going to place it right in your crease, but I literally just pack the color into my crease to be blended later with Peach Smoothie again, and that's what this brush is really good for because it's round, it's uniform throughout, so it's going to place the color throughout your whole crease if you just tap, tap, pack, and it's going to look perfect. And then I'm just going to take the soft dome brush again and blend everything together. I don't remember if I took Peach Smoothie again, but you can totally take Peach Smoothie again, and it's just going to make that gradient even more soft and make the blend even more diffused. And then I'm going to take the pointed crease brush, which is my favorite one in the entire set. I like to use it for the darker color up on the top of the lid because it is a little bit smaller than the last one we used, and the point coming out at the ends a little bit more fluffily really makes the darker color look perfect because it does deposit more right into the crease right where you place it, but it does place a little bit more on the sides of that so that it's not a harsh line, if that makes sense. It's just perfect for placing and blending as far as the dark color goes. So I literally just dip it into Makeup Geek Cocoa Bear, which is a warm brown, and I'm just placing where the point is right into my crease so that the most color deposit there, and so the darkest point, so that we're really bringing dimension to the eye, right in that crease. And then you can just count on whatever product is left over on the sides of the brush to sort of blend it outwards as you're putting it into the crease. And then I can also take some onto the side of the brush and pack that on the outer corner, sort of in like an outer V fashion, and that's why this brush is so versatile, and that's why I really, really like it. I think it's really unique. It's definitely my favorite in the set, and I just think it's perfect for putting dark colors and being able to blend. And again, you might have to take the soft dome brush again. I think I do in a second here, and that's okay. That's really the only diffusing type blender in the set. But all the other brushes are really good at what they do as far as placing color precisely, placing them in the areas that you want. And just continue to really build with this color and with this brush. It's just so perfect for getting that color exactly where you want it as far as the dark color goes, and just really enhancing the natural contours of your eye. And I do take the soft dome brush again, and I make sure to blend that part where I packed some on the outer part of the lid, because that's where it can kind of look harsh just because there's nothing inward to make a gradient, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I haven't put anything on my lid, and so you will need to take some Peach Smoothie and you will need to blend and blend and blend, and that's okay. That's what makeup is, just circular motions, blending and blending and blending, and just do that until everything kind of melts together and you get this perfect 3-color gradient. And then next I go back with that dense outer V brush, and I just take the lid color, which is Beaches and Cream, onto the top of the brush, and it's pretty flat and it's pretty dense. And so you'll just be able to literally push that color on there and take it side to side once you have the most color deposit in the center. And then I'm going to take the bent liner brush. This is my biggest qualm with this set. I prefer angled brushes for liner. It's just a personal preference thing. It is good quality for what it is though. And I'm going to dip the side of the brush where the angle is sort of downward, if that makes sense. You can see what I'm doing here because it is bent. And so I take the side to where the angle would be downward, and that's how I create the initial part of my wing. And then I flip it to the other side to drag it downwards. And I mean, the upside of this brush is the fact that it's bent makes you able to use the brush to your advantage as far as like the contours of your eyes, if that makes sense. So when I'm doing the filling in part of the wing, I like to just use the very tip of the brush. And the tip of the brush too is really good for flicking out the wing and just making it really tiny. And you never want one of those wings that kind of comes out to like a blob shape. You want it to come out to a nice point. And so I do like to just take one side and use that, trace it in, and really make that triangle. And then your eye is rounded, and so what's really nice about this brush is that you can just sort of, instead of coming in at a super awkward angle, you can really use that bent shape to your advantage and just carve out really close to the lash line the shape of your eye in a rounded shape, which is just super nice about these bent liner brushes. All in all, I would say use a bent liner brush for your whole eye so that you can really get that round shape without messing it up, and then use an angled brush to create the wing. Just creating the wing with this, I think, is funky. I think that an angled brush with its better surface area can really create just a nicer looking wing. I really wasn't happy with this wing just because I don't think the bent liner brush is the right brush. So that's my only qualm with this set, is that the bent liner brush, I would rather it was an angled brush. The nice thing about the inner corner too is you can use that point to really get into your tear duct, which is very nice because it is sometimes a little bit hard to do that with an angled brush. And then I'm going to take the Makeup Geek small crease brush, which I actually don't like for the upper crease. I like it for the lower crease because it deposits color in a small enough area but still moves it around in a large enough area that it's just perfect for that lower lash line. It was just made for the lower lash line. I'm going to dip it into Peach Smoothie first and then into Poppy afterwards, and as you can see, like, it's just the perfect size for that lower lash line. It's just perfect. It should be called a lower lash line brush. You can just literally drag the product across and it blends it while it's placing it, and that's all I can really say about this brush. You can just put color in that perfect size area. I think no matter, you know, what shape or what size your lower lash line is. I just take the first color and I place it, and then the second color, and I just mesh them together by moving back and forth. And it's just, you know, gosh darn perfect for that. I wouldn't recommend it for the crease though. I think it's too small for up top. And then I'm going to take the pencil brush, which is super unique. It's a super duper tiny brush. I think it's too small for the upper sort of crease as well, for the upper part of the eye in general, but it's so perfect for the dark color on the lower lash line. That's what it's made for. You can take, literally, I'm going to dip it into Cocoa Bear, and I can just get super duper duper close to those lashes, and that's what's so nice about it. I just drag it all the way across, and you can just get really close to those lashes and really bring that dimension to the eye. And then just take that other brush we just used, the small crease brush, and you can just blend again. Take your three colors if you need to. I definitely did, and just make that gradient look the same as it is on the top, but between these two brushes the lower lash line is made. That's a really, really nice part of this set. And that's my review, you guys. You know, my only two beefs are that the soft dome brush is pointed and that there's a bent liner brush rather than an angled brush, but everything, that's the set. I hope you go out and buy it if you think you need it, or at least some of them. They are really high quality brushes, and that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe.